We're live, Mr. Chairman. I yield, sir.
Good night to our listening public, Belizeans, both at home and abroad, and to those who will view us now and those who will view us a little later on. Also, welcome to our Belizean Affairs show number 444. 444. Pleasant good night. It's always a pleasure to sit in the company of Mr. Leonard Brackett.
The pleasure is mine,
Um,
Mr. Chairman.
and we should be joined by another senior panelist, Mr. Gregory Brackett, and our always guest, Mr. Gregory Morrison. If he, get to his location time, he will join us. And it's always a pleasure, Leonard, to sit in your company, sir. And in the interest of time, we go straight to our program. There's a lot going on, you know. It's a never-ending saga around the world and also in the nation of Belize. Some public and some not public. But we here, we speak on issues and current events, and we also advocate. While on that, we advocate for what we think is right for the Belizean people, or the poor and less fortunate. And we are true patriots of our nation of Belize. True patriots. And we call a spade a spade. And on that note, Leonard, I want to ask you to please lead us in a prayer, sir. And I after that, I will do a reading. So
Yes,
please
sir.
lead us in a prayer, sir.
Just warm my head, Mr. Chairman. Divine loving Father, thou who art the creator of heaven and earth, and all that in them are, and thou who art our creator as well, our Lord God and Redeemer, into thy hands we commend ourselves, the knowest our hearts, our desires, even our most secret thoughts, Lord and Master. Please let the words of our mouth and the meditation of our hearts be acceptable before thy divine presence, now and always. We pray that thou mayest bless our family members, our friends and loved ones, wherever they are. That thou would bless our country of Belize, its people and leadership. That thou would bless this country as well, its people and leadership. And that thou would bless the rest of humanity. Thou knowest our trials and tribulations and travails that we are undergoing. Please have mercy upon us, and especially on those people who have need of food and clothes and shelter. Please provide for them. And we pray that thou mayest bless our program tonight, that whatever we have to say may accrue to the well being of our people and country of Belize and to others. The rest is mercies in Jesus' name. Amen. I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Amen. Thank you, Leonard.
You're welcome,
I'll
sir.
go straight into a reading. Um, First of all, we want to give thanks also to our Creator for this day, because tomorrow is promised to no one, and give thanks and praise for the air we breathe here today. Thank
Mhm.
you. Like I say, uh, we know that there is a God, and that's the God that we serve. Um, I'll go to Ecclesiastes, Leonard, from chapter 4, 1 to 10, and the title, Evil Under the Sun, says, Again I saw all the oppressions that are done under the sun, and behold, the tears of the oppressed, and they had no one to comfort them. On the side of their oppressors there was power,
Mhm.
and there was no one to confront them. And I thought, the dead who are already dead more fortunate than the living who are still alive. But Better than both is he who has not yet been and
Born.
has not seen the evil deeds that are done under the sun.
Mhm.
Then I saw that all the toil that are skilled in work come from a man's envy of his neighbor. This also is vanity and striving after wind. The fool folds his hands and eat his own flesh. Better is a handful of quietness than two hands full of toil and a striving after wind. Again, I saw vanity under the sun. One person who has no other, either son or brother, yet there is no end to all his thought, and his eyes are never satisfied with riches, so that he never asks, for whom am I toiling and depriving myself of pleasure? This also is vanity and an unhappy business. Two are better than one because they have a good reward for their toils. For if they fall, one will lift up his fellow. But woe to him who is alone when he falls and has not another to lift him up. Again, if two lies together, they kept warm. That's my reading,
Yeah.
Leonard, from Ecclesiastes chapter 4, 1 to 10. Um,
Good admonition, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Leonard, over the past couple of weeks, we are seeing some new development in the nation of Belize. We see a lot of money missing from our government purse. We see them talk about audits, and you know, we see a lot of uh, places they says that money was allotted to build do certain projects, and you know they are falling short and they will need more money. And then we see a country, Leonard, that is infested with crime and violence, drugs, cartels, warfare, and SOEs, and a whole multitude of ills.
But no
Um,
SOEs, no SOEs up north where the cartels are running roughshod.
yes, um, as for me, I see that there is a great injustice that is being done to the Belizean people because of their political agenda. It's about politics. It's about business for the party. Um, so sad that we have an opposition that you know has their own problems, and fighting each other. And as for me, then I see like they're doing the opposition, the paid opposition that we have, that they're doing the nation a great injustice. I don't know why, but that's how I see it. I don't know why they're doing that, and not doing the business of being an opposition. But Leonard, I will you know um, ask you to for 5 minutes to to say a little. If you have anything that you want to speak out and it's on your mind and you want to speak it out, I'll give you 5 minutes later to. Um,
Um, I see we have someone else in the background. I'm not sure. I think it might be Mr. Morrison. I was trying
oh,
to.
well, okay.
Yes, sir.
Good
Oh,
evening,
Mr.
good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening, Mr. Morrison.
Good
How are
evening,
you?
Mr. Morrison. And we are just getting starting. Mr. Morrison, I said earlier, just now after the prayer, that you know, we see a lot of things happening in the nation of Belize. We see a
Yes,
lot of money missing from our government purse, our government
yes,
institutions, and then they talk about audits and like they want to do it and they don't want to do it and you know we have seen audits happen before and we see the Senate Special Select Committee holding hearings and we see how that played out to the ones that they said was supposed to be responsible for whatever they had called them for, and we see their attitude in these. So the bottom line is that nothing had come out of those, and it's all uh, public interest. They should have all, start and bring everything out to the Belizean people, to the taxpayers, to the nation, and to the world for them to people to see what's really going on in Belize.
yes.
But we see
The,
how they played that out.
the
Eh,
unfortunate thing about our Senate committee is that it doesn't have subpoena power and it has no real legal power to hold people accountable. And I think it could recommend that the DPP takes up a case against them, but it has not been
so
effective in any way, and it has brought some very conniving thing to light over the past, but we have seen that it has been ineffective in terms of moving
yes,
forward beside making a
yes,
public
Mr.
show
Yes,
of
Mr.
what
Morrison,
corruption is.
we will discuss that. And then I just want to run down a list of what I see,
Oh, okay.
what we want to, and then we'll see how we can discuss some of the issues. um, Lately we had a donation from a private individual from Shipyard to the Belize Defense Force, in lieu of some equipment and X-ray machine, which is very essential, which is very needed. We'll talk about that. We see the police, traffic, putting up roadblocks and setting up around the nation, and they are violating the rights of individuals. Um, you know, we see publicly Belize has ranked the highest in CARICOM price of fuel. Right, we'll talk about that. We see a economy that is failing in the nation. To every part of the nation of Belize you go, people are crying. People are crying out. Eh, the economy, inflation, a hardship. People having problems meeting their day to day daily living. You know, you see a country now right now is set in election mode right now, right? Um, which they are not attending to the needs of the people. They are attending to the needs of their political party. They're right want to win the next election. And one thing I want to for us to talk about more so is redistricting, and because of the promise that the same man, Johnny Briceño, the Prime Minister, Mr. Johnny Briceño, the Prime Minister of the nation of Belize, has mentioned on several occasions when he's going to do complete redistricting, right? He has said it on 3 or 4 times, and he gave different dates. But the last one he said it was gonna done by the end of 2026. That was the last one I heard. Maybe you guys have heard something different from what I heard. But yet he's they're hell bent right now on winning an election that is coming in March, and it's not 2026. That's March 2027. So I will stop it there because there's a lot to cover. Um, you know, but I want to talk about our leaders. Um, if you, Mr. Morrison, was the I'm not saying was if you was um the minister of uh national security, right? What would be your main duty and your main focus if you were elected as to serve in that capacity in the nation of Belize? I go to you, Mr. Morrison.
Can I say something to you quickly before you
Yes, sir.
speak?
Go ahead.
The question that you asked just now would be relevant to a portfolio that used to exist before, when we had the Minister of Home Affairs and the BDF or Defense under the same ministry. But it is not like that now. We have two different people occupying those two positions. So, in the context of the reality of what exists now, I think the question might be best placed on one or the other of these two individuals. Uh,
Well, I am talking about the minister of
what
national that is
home?
in charge of the BDF. Then let's
Okay, BDF.
let's
Okay.
let's put it that way because we don't want we I don't want to categorize right now, but let's deal with the minister of
Defense.
the BDF, Mr.
Yeah.
Morrison.
Okay. No, national security is fine because that involves a number of different portfolio that basically deals with the protection and the security and the welfare of the citizens.
Mhm.
So in that regard, it could be defense, it could be police, it could be home affairs. All those areas that involve the welfare of the people and the state. So I think then you'd be looking at a minister, and I think they were trying to do that just recently when they had taken away the portfolio of police from OSHA, or from Karim, and gave it to
Yakuza.
OSHA. I think they were thinking of kind of consolidating it to some degree into the Minister of National Security. One of the areas that we never think
But I
about
but
in
not cut you across, Mr. Morrison. That's right. I talked about I was focusing on private individual donating to our defense force, right? Donating much needed equipment. So let me be specific. Do you think that after decades now, we're 44 years plus right now in being independent? Okay, you don't think by now, right, that we shouldn't have private individuals coming in and donating much needed equipment that the government and a leader, namely the minister of BDF, should have been ministering and make sure that the BDF has exactly what it should have and what is needed, and to better off the everyday activities and living of the soldiers, right?
well, yeah, yeah,
Instead of a private individual, then don't you think that the government should have all these things in place for?
well, we have to look at our government, and we have to look at how this Belize Defense Force was created and its function and how it's funded and supported and the seriousness of how our government regards it. For the most part, the Belize Defense Force seems to suffer a great deal of neglect. Um, and there are many reasons why I believe it's like that. For we have heard that some BDF force they take bribe of food because they don't have enough food given to them through the organization, through the police defense force. We hear them complain from time to time that they don't have enough boots, footwear, to be out in the jungle. So we know that there's a great deal of need within that organization. So I am not particularly against an honorable person making a donation to help better the lives of the Belize Defense Force members if it is something that's needed and it's identified
Not
and
to
someone
not
someone
just a minute, Mr. Morrison. I'm with you. I'm not against either, right? I am glad that much for the record, right? I'm not against.
yeah,
I am
okay,
glad,
okay,
but
okay, yeah.
right.
So I come from a position of seeing that there has been a great deal of need in that organization. For some reason, our government has not made it a priority to fund it. Either they don't have the resource or they have not made it a priority. I know that a year ago they dedicated a nice new kitchen for them because the one they had was very dilapidated. Um, so I think if the need is known to someone that has the resource and they make that contribution in an honorable way, I have no problem doing that. The security forces of our country is necessary and needed, and while their role that they play is minor because it's mostly against the aggravation they have most of the time is against our own citizens and they're not sitting out there at the border and waters um, um, patrolling and providing the defense we need because we see the constant incursion by the Guatemalan military into our schools. So, um, yeah, that's where I stand with it, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Leonard.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Well
Morrison.
said there, Mr. Morrison.
Um, um, my contribution to this particular set of thoughts or expressions or concerns would be that instead of the BDF, exactly as Mr. Morrison just intimated, being out there covering their terrain and their responsibilities as defenders of the country and the borders of the country and provide defense to the country, we have the government using policies of state to have the BDF support the police department in regards to dealing with civilian matters that the police is entitled to and is the domain of the police. In other words, to have the police go around acting contrary to law and proper policies. Some of them are, you could fault them for not being properly trained in the first place, but others is just the attitude and the level of veracity that they have in regards to dealing with the civilians. That is to say, because they have the authority as police officers vested in them, that they want to go there and under the color of law interact with an unarmed, defenseless civilian population and misbehave and treat people in ways that even if we had an SOE or a state of emergency, they still should not be treating people with those kind of behavior unless they're dealing with a hardcore criminal or somebody who is actually outrightly um, trying to bring harm to them. Then they are entitled to use additional force. But they resort to force even without the need of force, just to establish themselves as a bunch of Gestapos. That's not what it's supposed to be about. And then you have the police, um, what they call them, the
Tactical unit,
no, they have a group, but I forgot the specific name.
special branch or whatever it is.
When these officers commit crimes, they are first
Oh,
taken to this group
oh, yeah,
to,
some type
so
of
that they can
tribunal.
put them under pressure or interdict them or do whatever, because they don't want them to have to face civil suits by the civilians. They rather take it by the horn and just do something so that the civilians don't have to sue them, and then the government end up having to pay it to the civilians. But they exculpate these guys when they misbehave. They don't, first, like I said, they don't educate them correctly about what their job is supposed to be. But they give them all these extra powers to allow them to go ahead and misbehave with no accountability. As in the case where the senator was trying to, explain to the gentleman, the police officer, while he was being stopped at the checkpoint, another officer was saying that they don't have to listen to what he's saying because they could have just as well taken him in anyhow. They don't need to be listening to him telling them or explaining to them what their job is supposed to be about because they're supposed to know it. But it's apparent that they don't know it or they are overreaching. Now, imagine how they react with the average civilian who does not have that level of, uh, the senator and all members of Congress are covered under a special rule, right? That is that the police officers or no one's supposed to interact with them and stop them from traveling when they are going to and fro on their government business. They're supposed to waive them too because there's like an immunity. Then they're given an extra preferential consideration. They're not being looked on as a law breaking average civilian. So there's extended courtesies that is given to them. But some officers don't, like in the case of the officer that was talking on the tape, he has no regards for any such thing. He was saying that he could have taken the um, the senator contrary to his own orders and the police department protocols, and then whatever happened afterwards happened because he was overreaching either in ignorance or out of frustration. But none of those two things justify his breaking the law while pretending to be acting as a lawman. Those officers need to be instructed adequately. It shouldn't take a senator who has the direct connection to the police commissioner to have the police commissioner speak to one of his underlings to tell the other officer on the spot there, what the rules or the protocols were. But that's what had to happen. That's what happened. Now imagine an average civilian who doesn't have um, the telephone number of the commissioner or of the prime minister or any other superior entity that could rectify or clarify or take care of those matters before it goes into a court case and then turn around and lose another court case. You know? These things are onerous behavior. And the average civilian is being victimized regularly. Not only are they being victimized by being taken away their rights, but they are being beaten down by police officers who take them to the to the uh, to the station and levy false charges against them, for which they then have to go and find a lawyer if they could afford the lawyer. It's a lot of crazy stuff going on, but that's only
Thank
one
you.
point. I'll deal back for right now, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
I wanted to add to what you were saying, Mr. Brackett. I remember some years ago watching a video. I saw it in the timeline when it happened, and I saw it recently when 60 Minutes had interviewed the then foreign minister of Belize, um, Dean Barrow, and they were talking on the interaction of the people, the citizens, with the police department, and they were talking how amicable and how good that relationship was. That the host of 60 Minutes come and said, "Why is it like this?" And he says, "Oh, we're just a family. We're just a family. We're a small country, and there's this amicability between our police department." and our citizens. And so we know that type of relationship existed, and it could exist again, but they have so destroyed it with the
Arrogance.
bad will that they have demonstrated. And it is, of course, our citizens have gotten more coarse, and lots of things have happened in the intervening years that have changed the entire structure of our society to some degree. But these SOE that they keep bringing up time after time does not do anything to improve or to help the relationship, because, like you said, the comments of the officers relating to Mr. Dennison, while they didn't have to know that he was a senator, their behavior needs to be consistent with respect and with knowledge of the law, and with the knowledge of the rights of citizens based on the Constitution, and their rights of protection that our Constitution afford them. So
Thank
it,
you.
it, it was it was very disappointing to watch what happened, and it was even more disappointing, I believe, when the former commissioner of police sort of came out to sort of lecture the senator on what he should do, because I think in that instance he was advocating for all citizens and the rights of all citizens, and giving the police the guidelines of where they are supposed to operate. It is unfortunate that the senator had to call the commissioner, and he kind of threw it in the face of the officer. But then he was acting so arrogant, like he'd have wanted to pull you out your car and take you to the station right away. So I
Thank
think it
you.
was a bit of arrogance matching a bit of arrogance in that
Thank you,
instance.
Mr. Morrison. I want to welcome our senior panelist, Mr. Gregory Brackett. Welcome, sir. Welcome
Thank you,
to
Mr.
our
Chairman. Good night,
244
gentlemen.
edition.
Good night, sir.
It's always a pleasure sitting with you guys, virtually discussing Belizean affairs. I see you guys are in a great topic, one that we always speak about here in Belizean affairs.
Mr. Chairman,
Learn your
Greg, Greg,
constitution.
Greg.
Hold on, Leonard. Let Greg finish
So
up. Yeah.
I'm just want a statement on what Mr. Morrison just stated, just to close that out, and then make Greg, because he needs to be given a fair shot at, presenting what he's going to present, no? So I was just asking for the tolerance to just make a
Go
remark.
ahead, sir.
Okay, about the former commissioner getting his butt out there and acting stupid as if he doesn't really understand. His behavior is so onerous to the point that he had stipulated before, while he was the commissioner then, that he don't care what the court says, that he was going to go and rearrest some of those people that the court was letting off, and then interdict them and send them back up for jail again. That's the level of arrogance that these people are perpetrating against our society. But I'll leave back because maybe I have
Thank
a
you. Yes. Yeah.
later
Thank
on.
you, Leonard. Yeah, you're right on that, Leonard. Go ahead, Greg.
Gentlemen, before I say anything about it, let me play the tape so you and the people at home can hear what the good senator had to say.
Too expensive, but my rights being breached have nothing to do with feeling sorry for the government for having to pay for it. I'm on record saying, breach them guys' rights in the SOE and have to pay them money, because fundamental rights work like that. Like, no matter that for who writes your breach, you have a social contract that is created in the Constitution. So once that social contract is broken, you must be compensated, and the way you're compensated is financially, sadly. So that's not a consideration for me, like feel sorry for the government because the public money won't count. That's not a consideration for me. That's a consideration for the government, for the people who are enforcing the law, to train their people properly, so that if they were investing in training, they wouldn't be paying fees for breaches of abuse. So I don't even want that question. That's not for me. any citizens whose right is breached deserves to be paid. Like, the clips are live in the Senate where I've said it under the continuous SOE past 30 days, and the guys have not been taken before a tribunal as a breach of the Constitution. They will be entitled to compensation. I said it. So
Gentlemen, I want to stop the tape right there. First, let's go back to Monday night show. We had the opportunity to discuss this, and I said Monday night at checkpoint, the police may ask to see registration, your driver's license, and your insurance, but they cannot demand title. I mentioned it Monday night. It is unconstitutional. They don't have probable cause to do that unless there was a report about a stolen vehicle. Then they could say, well, look, and they must do that without violating your constitutional right also. It should be what we call a consensual conversation. They could have said, well, Mr. Denison, we have a report a vehicle identical to yours was stolen. That is why we are asking to see your certificate of title. That
Let me ask
said,
you a question. Let me ask you a question, Mr. Brackett. So I know in the United States we are required to give them our driver's license, our insurance, and our vehicle registration. So in Belize, you're not required to give your vehicle registration.
yes, but we're speaking about the title,
Well,
certificate
usually
of
our
title.
registration says whether you're whether no our registration says when you hand it to them whether your ownership or interest in the vehicle. It kind of says whether you're the actual owner or whether you're just an interest in the vehicle.
Mr. Morrison, there is a sticker on the windshield that shows the vehicle is registered. And
Okay.
it also shows there's a registration. But then if you go beyond that, then you are in what we call channels water.
Yeah. No,
No,
I understand. I understand. I just
right,
wanted to know if that information was available on your
right.
registration.
No, gentlemen, to go to the former commissioner, who I see as a political mischief maker. Sir, I will only say this to you. $318,000 under your commissioner when you were previously the commissioner. That is how much the government have to pay these young men that they are trying not to pay, that they wanted to pass the 13th Amendment for violation of these young men's rights
And,
under the
and
Constitution.
one of the young men died already too, and he will not be able to collect his part of the money. Okay?
So you, as former commissioner, should have least to say because you are right in it, and it's starting taxpayers $318,000. Again, the Constitution speaks for itself, and whenever that is being violated, your fundamental right, you have the right to use Section 20 for judicial review, and if they violated your rights, they must compensate you. We have discussed that time and time here on Belizean affairs, and we have said so many cases that the government lost and why they would lose. They will lose it because of the same thing. So there is no excuse to what they did.
Thank,
With that said, I want to go back to you, Mr.
thank
Chairman.
you, Greg.
Could I add
Mr.
something?
Morris.
Could I add something,
Go
Mr.
ahead.
Lee?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Mr. Morris.
you know, we're seeing a very uncivil type of interaction between the police and the citizens. And I think it is coming from years of abuse and mistreatment, and we're seeing that the citizens are showing a resentment and a lack of respect for authority. But one of the things I remember being said in the SOE was that if the people spoke to the police in a certain way under the SOE, that gives the police cause to take them into custody.
Crazy.
And I was thinking, how thin skinned is that type of behavior that they are criminalizing speech? And
That's
so we have to
unconstitutional.
be careful how we allow these SOE to become time and time after what we use as the means of controlling or and causing to create law enforcement. So that's what I wanted to point
Uh,
Thank you, Mr. Morrison. Greg, yeah, Greg, go ahead, Leonard. Sir.
Constitutional wise, all these secondary laws that are being created as part of the SOE should be done within the bounds of what the Constitution requires to maintain people's basic civil rights, their constitutional right, their natural right, and their inalienable right. But these guys that put those statutory instruments together, they are doing so with the idea of trying to co-opt powers that are not truly vested in them and that they're not supposed to be exercising. And they put all kind of junk inside of these statutory instruments that they
Yeah.
write that violates and is contrary to the Constitution. And then they turn around and want to use that to trump the Constitution and people's rights.
Lower
Because
your mic a little there, Greg, please. Yeah,
according to them,
your
it's a
mic,
law. Once
your
that law
mic
is,
break, please. I think you, Greg.
once that law is
Thank you.
allowed
Yeah,
to be carried out, then they try to get the people used to the idea that those laws trump people's fundamental rights and trump the Constitution. And that's a no-no. But these people push it to the
thank you.
point where they allow you as a civilian to want to demand your rights. And by you trying to demand your rights, that means that you argue with them and you disobey them and you don't abide by what they tell you. They're not supposed to be giving you no legal commands to as an order in the first
Thank
place.
you.
And they're supposed to be taught how to do these things correctly. Are you up there?
Thank you. Thank you.
you're right.
Thank you,
You're right.
guys.
What
Um,
you're right. What's missing is training. We need a process of
yes,
training
sir.
and education. And
Yes,
you
sir.
know, it has gone bad for
Exactly
so
where I
very
was
long.
going, Mr. Morrison. You take it out
Yeah.
of my. That is exactly where I was
Sorry,
But,
going. Go ahead,
sorry.
though.
but
Yeah.
Mr.
It
Chairman,
Go ahead.
I
Go
yeah,
ahead, though. Let Mr. Morrison explain
yeah.
that part there. Go ahead, Mr. Morrison.
Yeah, it has gone bad for so very long that I think it will take a while to build up the trust and give the police the training they need, give the citizens themselves the the
Education.
education they need about the law and the constitution and their
Yeah.
responsibility, and then start bringing about proper and good behavior. You know, we're in the
Thank you.
21st century. We need to improve, and we are trying to address ourselves as a modern country that's inviting tourism and people from international places to come and visit Belize. And so we need to really step it up and realize that we need an educated and informed and trained police department. And we also need to enlighten and educate and train our citizens so that they
That
know
is it
their
right there, Mr.
responsibility.
Morrison. Thank you. Greg, you wanted to before I.
yes, gentlemen and people at home and abroad, I can look back to a hearing where then Senator Leonard Smith was speaking about this same situation that is happening today. If
In
you
Senate.
mention anything to the police, they will arrest you and what they can do. I want to say this right from the police not knowing the law. The law of the land is the Constitution. Any other law is substantive law, but you must have reason to use them. But some police officers, when they don't get their way, this is how they do it. And I can say this, if you check how much young men are being arrested, you know what the charge is? The charge will be resisting arrest. And that is
Secondary.
because they are trying to speak up for the abuse. So because you are trying to explain yourself, knowing you committed no crime, you are slapped with a resisting arrest, and then you can't get out of it. But it's more to that,
End up with the
and
police
there's
report.
proof in the pudding. Because what the former commissioner is saying is way out of context because of this.
Police attached to the Gang Intelligence Investigation and Interdiction Unit GI3 have formally arrested and charged 34-year-old Thomas Ferguson of Electric Avenue, Belize City, for the offense of kept firearm without a gun license and kept ammunition without a gun license. This arrest follows an SOE sanction operation in a declared area which
Now you listen to that people at home and abroad. To justify the state of emergency, these arrests will be placed under the state of emergency. Outside of that, they have been always arresting people or picking up people under criminal code for guns. But now to justify it, to make it seem as though the SOE is working, this is how they are interpreted. And back to what Chester was saying to Mr. Denison, as I said, is way out of context because this is not the first time. Mr. Chairman, listen, I'm not an attorney.
I'm tired of it. These people cannot handle the chance Belizean people in this country like this. No way. They pulled me over. Nobody
You know,
pulled
I
over.
have
There
no
was an illegal
problem that they
checkpoint
were
in
able to
Sandhill.
get
No
the
police
firearm
officer
off
was
the
there.
street because we know that
The
these
individual stand up there with a light. I drove off. The next second, they are chasing me down, running me down for what
killing
reason?
individuals.
I'm in my country. You can't stop me in my country. I'm not at the border point. No, you're not doing that. They are
So there you go, Mr.
Yeah,
Chairman.
can you hear me?
Thank you for
Yeah, I was saying.
you want to say something, Mr. Morrison?
I have no problem with. Huh?
Go ahead, Mr. Morrison.
You're cutting in and
No, I
out.
say I have no problem with getting guns off the street as they did with the SOE when that individual was taken into custody. I'm not against apprehending criminals. I'm not against apprehending lawbreakers.
But Mr.
And
Morrison, there's no
Hold on,
need.
Leonard, hold on. Let him finish, and I'll go to you, Leonard. Go ahead, Mr. Morrison. Share your view.
I'm not against. Yeah, I'm not against that. I believe that our laws need to be strong and firm, but I also believe it needs to be protected and a safeguard for the innocent and the good people needs to be there. It is true that criminals have rights, and we should not violate their rights because it comes back to us in many ways, as we are seeing with the Budna case, where his rights was violated. I don't know that he was an active criminal, but I know he has been sentenced and stuff in the past.
Thank you, Mr. Morrison. You want to say something on that, Leonard? Go ahead.
Yes, sir. I'll reiterate the point. And the point is that there are current laws on the book for the police and with the powers of the police authority vested in the current police administration or department.
You use the word current, Leonard. You use the word current, right?
I choose my words, Mr. Chairman.
Current, yes. Thank you.
There is laws on the book that they don't have to cast an SOE net over the whole section of our population. They could go and do exactly what that young lady described just now, the police officer that was making the comment, saying that they went ahead and went and collected this guy and they found weapons, and they should be doing that regularly. They don't need for an SOE or use that as a justification to hurt other people in the community that has nothing to do with their police work that they don't want to do. Go do the damn work. That's what they're
Thank
here
you.
for.
Guys, you know, let me
But
put in my
let me
little
just
2
back
cents.
up one thing
Let me
that
put in my little 2 cents here.
Let me say one thing and then I'll get you through, sir. You know, I believe that SOE has some advantages because it means that they can make a search and an inquisition on a person without having a warrant, just under the suspicion of the day. They can make those, while they cannot enter a property normally without a warrant and make those type of
But they do that in a lot of
things. So
different
I don't have a
posts.
problem with
Hold
SOE.
on,
If,
hold
they're
on,
getting
Leonard.
the people that are causing the problem, okay, thank you.
Okay. Point taken there, Mr. Morrison. What we're trying to show, right, that you know they go ahead now doing these arrests and these searches and these charges, and on these so-called gangs repetitiously. But Greg have played, and Leonard is saying that there are already laws in the books to do that on a regular basis, on a day to. Well, I can go back from in the 70s. That's what I was taught, right, in the police training school. They didn't have to set no SOE for me to to go ahead and exercise these same rights. I mean, these same charges that they are bringing on these individuals in the name of state of emergency, and the Constitution states specifically how and why a state of emergency can be implemented. That's what I was taught, but it's only me, right? But my thing is that these kinds of actions need to stop by the government. Keep repetitiously, doing the same illegal acts to people over and over. And why they do it? They do it because little
Self-exculpation.
black boy there, and they can't go and get an attorney and to hold these so-called smart people accountable, so they get away with it, right? So, and then what they do now? They involve the Coast Guard. Now, in my time, it was only the Police Special Force and the British and the police, because the Police Special Force was a paramilitary body. Paramilitary, right? We were taught
In
the
support of
laws of the country. We were taught the duties of a policeman, and we were semi-military because we worked in external affairs, internal and external aggression, right? Now, what these people doing now, Mr. Briseño, the Prime Minister of this country, and past the Dean Barrow, and now they start to implement the Coast Guard, who has no training on police duties, no training on the laws of the nation. They involve the BDF now. The BDF are never been taught the duties of a police, the duties, police duties, the criminal law, no kind of laws of Belize. They were taught internal security. No, they were taught about external security. So what this man do now? Incorporate these poor guys, put them on the streets, and they create mayhem, because first of all, they do things to civilians that they are not supposed to do. Number one, they say things to civilians they are not supposed to say to them, right?
Exciting them to.
And then
Yeah.
what happened? They create mayhem, right? And now the police who's supposed to been taught all these should do and shall not do and should not do, and this is what you should do. The ones that are taught, they're not implementing it. For some reason, it goes in one ear and it come because they come on the street and do the same thing what the BDF and the Coast Guard do to people. Say things to them that they are not supposed to say to them, right? Disrespect people, you know, do all sort of things that they are not supposed to do to people. And that's what creates the mayhem, big mayhem. Involve the police, then involve the court system, then involve going to jail. You see a lot of chaos there and a lot of innocent people, right? So these people have all their priorities so backwards, right? So I advise Mr. Johnny Briceño, if you are so hell-bent on using the BDF repetitiously on the street, hurdle them and give them some crash course on the laws of Belize and the duties that you should be doing on the street. So that is exactly is the problem in terms of what is going on the streets and the mayhem, right? And then, you know, these SOEs, I think they should wheel around, come back again and look and think. So every 3 months they pass an SOE in this country and it's illegal, right? In the true sense, right? So if they go around and make the laws legal for them to do, wait, hold on, Mr. Morrison, right? If they could go and change the laws, change the constitution, well, this is what we're going to instill. That's what Mr. Chanona should have done and give it to Johnny Briceño in his hands. You know, change the how and when an SOE should be implemented in the nation. Change that. Then it will all be legal for what they are doing. Then the court wouldn't be awarding, right? And the court wouldn't be finding them guilty of the crimes that they are doing to people. Right? That's the way I put it. Right? You want to say something there, Mr. Morrison? Go ahead. Go ahead, Mr. Morrison.
No, I was going to say, I don't view the SOE. I don't view the SOEs as illegal. I view them as inappropriately using the power of the state, and I see them as an overreach to what should be implemented to deal with normal criminality in the society. And I think it violates the goodwill of the citizens to have a proper functioning law enforcement agency, which is the police department, because they're not doing their job in a consistent and proper way. They're doing in an ad hoc way, where at times they're giving these extreme powers. And what happens if you keep training these people thinking they have this power that will give them from time to time? They start believing and acting out in a way like this power that they have on the SOE is intrinsic to all of their police work. So that is the most danger we face in this type of approach.
And guys, sadly, innocent people are caught up with that mayhem, right? People who have, you know, no intention of getting involved, right? And right there, because of the SOE that they had passed and the way they behave, the police is behaving, they get caught up, right? And create a whole lot of problem for innocent people. Go ahead, Leonard.
Everything that we're saying here tonight is 100% on target. But I just want to throw a little light on something else that we need to keep in the back of our head while we have these discussions, and that the Belizean people need to be aware of in the back of their head in terms of these circumstances. First of all, in Belize, we have gangs that operate under the red when the red is in power. They are allowed to run with shadow over the gangs that operate in the blue because the power of state is brought to bear behind these guys to exculpate them and or to keep them from under the shadow of the blue. When the blue is in power, it's the same crap they do. They go and then put pressure upon the gangs where they're in the red groups them, and the other ones them in the blue shoot up the one in the red. And when the one in the red, then decide, okay, well, they want to retaliate, or at least there should be an expectation that they will want to retaliate. Then the police jump in the middle and say, well, we will try to stop our retaliation. But they don't say that they allow a free hand on behalf of the blue gangs. Because those blue gangs, who we call gangs, or the police describe as gangs, are part of the bigger gang. They operate on behalf of the PUP. So the same way in the UDP, they operate on behalf of the UDP. And I can
So
tell
right
you,
on that, Leonard, I've been saying that for many years now too, for what I know too, right? So
from
I am with you too, yeah.
from
So,
1972,
but any
we formed those organizations. First, it used to be the marshals them in the PUP, and then we created we one marshal groups
but
them, and then
let's shift the discussion. Yeah,
but we need to be aware of how we get to where we are.
yeah.
What is it? And if we don't know and we don't solve the problem and recognize what the issues are, then we don't just keep going around and around in circles.
Thank
And
you.
everybody will come in and put their
Thank
SOE. And the SOE, when the UDP does it, it's targeting most of the guys then from street to the
Yes, sir.
and the other ones then will operate
Yes,
on
sir.
the it's a
In
constant
the interest of time, yeah, let's shift the discussion on a much
Mr. Chairman, before
topic.
you shift,
Yes, sir.
before you shift, I just want to say something. The issue with these SOE is the state always tell on themselves, and it makes no sense. All SOEs are constitutional, but it is how it's being implemented. When they went to get an SOE, if they had put laws in their conditions, for example, to say that if any member of any gang is found in the street after a certain time, they will be arrested, etc., and we can go on, the
Yes.
SOE would have been a
Legal.
constitutional
Yeah.
SOE.
Yeah.
But they did not do that.
So then not all
So,
SOEs are legal then.
So
excuse me, Mr. Brackett, what is that?
so
I was teasing you because you said when you first opened your mouth and start speaking to the point, you said all SOEs are legal. And then you went on to describe the legality of an SOE or particular SOE. So, I was just trying to contextualize it, but I yield back, Mr. Chairman. I yield back, Greg.
thank you.
Anyway, as I was saying, this is how you know they tell on themselves. And I want to show it.
Yeah, crime management, and obviously, like you said, it was my job for 5 years to be a part of that operation. It's very difficult, obviously, and you have to utilize many tools. Obviously, we have the leadership intervention unit that intervenes in a positive way in these young men's lives who want to change. But there comes a point when there are certain individuals, certain actors who, no matter how hard you try with them, they will continue to act in a deviant manner and act criminally and take people's lives. And if it is that the police has information that there's going to be retaliation, that is usually when a state of emergency is called to protect individuals.
I want to stop it right there.
Go, Ghost.
You see what I'm saying, Mr. Chairman?
They tell on themselves, like I always say,
But
Greg,
anyway,
and that's the
Then
proof right there.
hold on, Mr. Chairman. Here we go again because it goes
So
on.
this state of emergency is very different from previous, where this one is very targeted. We're looking for specific individuals based on the intelligence that we had received of possible violence by these individuals. And so it's very specific in targeting these individuals. What you've seen in the past was state of emergencies that would just round up large number of individuals and incarcerate them. You would appreciate that if you look at the violent crimes over the past few months, it's not concentrated in one geographic area. It's quite all over the country, really. So we're dealing with a very different wave of violence across the country. And so the SOE itself, by design, will only be able to address those geographic areas and then those who we're specifically targeting.
But then, Mr. Chairman, you can, why
I didn't hear it.
use that SOE to target them when you can do that outside of a SOE?
The police have the powers already
They're
invested
telling
in
us
them.
themselves. You are
Thank
saying
you.
no, you have to implement a
Thank
SOE.
you.
The
At least one thing,
purpose for the SOE
guys,
is to exculpate them.
at least one thing I like from Mr.
What's that?
the CEO, right, is that he's saying that crime and violence is all over the country. At least that's one thing I liked. That's only me. One thing I like what he said, which is true.
Like Greg said, and tell on himself, Mr.
Right?
Chairman.
All over the country. And that was the question put, and that was his answer. He got right, and I gave him 110% on that. Guys, I want to touch on the, in the essence of time.
They say misery loves company, Mr. Wade.
They say what? What else, Mr. Morrison?
They say misery loves company.
Again.
Misery loves company.
Yes, but yes, I want to touch on.
You go cut in and cut out, Mr.
You're in and out, Mr. Morrison. Mr. Morrison, like you're in and out. Like some part, yeah. I don't know. It's somewhere with your Yes, but I wanted to touch on a very a point now that the country is in election mode, right? And I want to talk about that, and I want to talk about redistricting, and I want to talk about, for what we know, what the Prime Minister had said about redistricting from his own mouth publicly. So I go to you, Leonard.
Are we going to have an election without redistricting? Have they committed to that?
Well, it looks like
we're going to have an election without redistricting.
It looks like that's
the Prime Minister, in his own words, initially had said that he's going to get it done before the next election.
That's exactly.
The election is coming, and the work is not completed. They said they've been working on it from last year, and as we show them, it doesn't take more than a week to get the whole thing done. Probably a month. Give them 2 months. Give them 6 months. Give them a whole year. How the hell they still work on it for 2 years? Doesn't make sense. You could gerrymander that stuff in a few hours. We're not doing that manually anymore. It's all computerized. All the information is already collected and logged at the Department of Election and Boundaries, and it keeps getting revised and updated on a monthly basis. So what the hell are they talking about? Why is it they can't get it done? And why are we going to end up with another election before getting that's completed? They don't want to do it. Yeah. They love it just the way it is because they have won like that 2 times in a row, and they would hope to win a 3rd time in a row with the same condition.
And it's so sad to see the strongness of these guys, to see the totally disregarding the courts, totally, disregarding the will of the people, totally disregarding the constitution, right? And past government, the UDP has totally disregard the name and redistricting. Same as the People's United Party. Why are these people doing this thing? Why? I mean, I know it puts money in their pocket to win to win their election, because when they win their election, they get to do all kinds of heinous stuff to put to profit themselves. I mean, we see the little constituencies, how the UDP win it. You see how the PUP win it, back and forth, right? And we see how they, these little constituencies, we see how much of a power these guys that comes in from nowhere, from wherever they come from, the walks of life, they come and with this, and they put them in these little constituencies, right? And all the constitution is asking is for them to make it right or near as right. That is all the constitution is asking these guys to do. But they are so like, and it's so sad that if the PUP don't do it, and then the UDP win it, when the UDP win, they will not do it either. Right? Although the court is telling them that, hey, and although you're going to come to the people and say, yes, man, because of what's going on in the court, yes, by 2026 or by 2020, the unelected guy, oh yeah, by 2020, the People's United Party win the election, we will do redistricting because it's necessary. The good man, Mr. Edmund Marshall, like in 2012, when the PUP was in opposition, and I'll say this again, when the PUP was because he's a well-known PUP scholar, right? Well-known PUP. At that time, yeah, I was a PUP too. So, but anyway, he says publicly, yes, redistricting is needed and it's easy to do. That's what this man says, right? That's 2012, Why is because the UDP was in power and the PUP was opposition. So what the hell is wrong with this country? Now the PUP in power now, right? Yeah, we will, 2020 they should have done it. From the words of the very smart man, Mr. Courtney. Very intelligent man. And now, not an intelligent man, Mr. Briceño. 2026 we will. 2026, from 2012 to 2026. What is wrong with these people? Are the Belizean people so stupid? I mean, I got to say this word, or still sleeping, or still on their heads. What is wrong? And what really upsets me, the little consistency where like got 3,000 people. These guys have powers up there, yin. When the one that has 11, 12, 13,000. So he's not even a minister. Right? Mm-hmm. What is wrong with that darn picture? My people and I say these things because, I see it. I am so dumb and stupid and no, I'm not smart. If I could see this, why can't these smart people, because they're all attorney, most of them, some of them are, doctor. I don't know how they become a doctor, but some of them are a doctor, some of them are honorable, some of them are attorneys, very smart people. How the hell can't these people see these things?
Mr. Way, why you mentioning
but anyway,
Mr. Shine Barrow?
Say again?
Why are you messing with the Honorable Dr. Shine Barrow?
No, I'm talking truth, Doctor, I don't know how these people become doctor and doctor this and, doctor that and
well, I was going to say that. Yeah. I was going to.
Anyway, I give you 2 minutes there, Mr. Morrison, because
it is constitutional, and we need the government to follow it. But I wanted to say that the impact of redistricting on village and city council election is almost nil. it is the general election that are more impacted by the redistricting, where you draw those 31 constituent boundaries and get your elected parliamentarian from. So it is not true impact for
Let me
the
cut you across
village
there.
and city
Say this to you,
councils for the
Mr.
redistricting.
Morrison, right?
Kayo,
Yeah, you see in terms of general election, the village and the towns
I split up.
are together.
Mhm.
Village and towns. Some of the village and towns are together. It's all one,
They
right?
split
No,
For
I
general
understand. I
election.
understand. I
In yeah,
understand.
in the
Yeah,
town
yeah,
and city, it's limit, city limit and town limit, right? City
yeah,
limit
yeah,
and
yeah,
does
yeah,
not include the villages. Go ahead,
yeah.
Leonard.
Okay. As regards to
Three
Kayo,
minutes, 3 minutes there, Leonard, because yeah.
as regards to Kayo, Corozal, and Orange Walk, those districts for the general election, you have the divisions, and those divisions are comprised of part of the city and part of the villages. Them, okay, or as part of the towns.
Like I just said, yeah, like I just said.
Okay, I'm just repeating this because on to what Mr. Morrison was saying, it appeared that he may not have been conscious of that. No,
But
the
yeah.
general point, the general
No, no,
point,
I'm conscious of it. I'm
okay,
conscious of it. But go
Oh,
ahead.
yeah.
okay. Point taken. Go ahead, Leonard.
The point is that the government plays fast and loose with these categories because they don't want to change. Like you said, Mr. Weird, Mr. Chairman, they could have changed up some of those big divisions, at least the big ones, and add some smaller ones. You know, they don't have to change the whole thing if they don't really want to, because nobody can force them to do it, even though they are mandated to do it. Okay, because we've been trying to force them for years through the courts, through all different kind of means, and they find different ways to skedaddle out of the process and still go on to successfully have the election, which are, as far as I'm concerned, according to the Constitution, should be declared as unconstitutional. The fact that they had them doesn't make them legal, lawful, or constitutional, because they're doing so in violation, open revolt against the Constitution. So I have no respect or regards for them when they behave like that. But my concern is the people of the country have two mass parties that they are dealing with. And the people doesn't seem to have this belief that any independent minded person could make a difference. Okay? But if they were to elect some independent individuals in some of these different divisions, they'll be surprised to know that those individuals could make up a difference in terms of who runs the government and what kind of pressure they're under in order to try and stay as government, because they can easily be overturned. As well as they can, we have never had this scenario in Belize yet, but the Constitution provides for it. I recall, you can recall one or two different elected officials in different divisions, or you can recall in the whole damn government if you can get the correct prescribed amount of votes. The government in power would not tolerate or accept that or finance it, even though the Constitution says it ought to be done if the people want it to be done. But nobody is encouraging the people to do that. They're happy the way it is right now.
Thank you.
That's all.
Thank you, Leonard. Greg, go ahead, Greg. You got 3 minutes here, Greg.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to say this about the redistricting. First of all, I want to say, because of the ruling in the CCJ, I want you, the people at home and abroad, to get this straight through. The case is not moot, as they are trying to say. Secondly, the appeals court has just upheld Mr. Enriquez's appeal, and the government will have to pay the cost for what was done. Thirdly, I had mentioned up here on Belizean affairs, they have no intention of doing redistricting. And I will say it again, that is the reality of it. Because when you had an independent individual came in and do a study and tell you you have to lose some seats in Belize, and then you will get Mr. Musa turn around and say they are already trying to sort out the 31 seats. Right there is telling you they have no intention of doing it. But I want to show you the people at home and abroad how they are trying to get around it to say they are doing redistricting. And nobody is looking at it. But this is how they intend to do it, by
Stalin for time.
changing the boundaries
Stalin for
in
time.
town and village. Listen to it.
When we completed the tongue boundaries delineation exercise last year, yes, that came into effect on the 1st of April 2025. That exercise that we did was done in collaboration with the Ministry of Natural Resources, the Elections and Boundaries Department, the respective village councils, and the town council. So these are not activities that are done in isolation. And then just for clarity, right now the municipal boundaries are clear. Those maps are clear. Elections and Boundaries is currently working with those maps to make sure that that electoral registry reflects what the newly established tongue boundaries are. Elections and Boundaries are using the newly established boundaries for all tongues to reconfirm the electoral registry for municipal elections. And they have already begun to do that from earlier this year and even from last year.
So there you go. You see what I'm saying? That is what their intention is, to use that as to say the CCJ ruling is mute, because they will come and say, because they change the boundaries and all that, they are doing the redistricting, when in reality, they have no intention to change the 31 seats in Belize. And we know for a fact,
I'm gonna have to leave. My reception is bad.
Kyle West need one, Stan Creek, and TG. I go back to you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. We are just about out of time. I'll give you let's see, we have 7-8 more minutes. Mr. Morrison, I give you 2 minutes for your closing, sir.
Yes, thank you very much. You know, I think it's a very cogent point when we brought up the issue of the lack of community spirit and civic spirit that we have faced as a people because of the erosion of trust that we have seen between the police department and our government. I often says, if you want to get the temperature of a people and see how they're doing, then look at the relationship between their government, the people, and their police department. If you see there's hostility with the people and the police department, that's your very first indication that the government is not functioning within a harmonious structure of the citizens. So, and I think I told you earlier that Mr. Barra, as foreign minister, when he had that 60 minutes interview, testified and was a testimony to that. And so our people knows how to bring it back, but it will take work. It will take a considerable amount of work because we did not get there overnight. We've gotten there here over decades of mistrust, abuse, and neglect, and not educating the citizens and training the police officers in protecting the rights of the people. And this constant SOE creates that mess for this abuse, because it sits on them constantly that they are doing this, and then they start acting like this is the normal mode of operation, which it is not. So
Thank
we
you.
need to get back to proper governance and
Thank
proper
you.
administration of justice and policing.
Thank you, Mr. Morrison.
Thank you.
Leonard, I'll give you 2 minutes. Leonard,
Thank you very much, Mr. Morrison.
so we
Thank you,
could,
Chairman.
you're
As re-
closing.
yes, sir. As regards to the honorousness of the government, doing what they need to do, they are commanded in the Constitution and in the preamble in specific that the country should have, or the government should exercise policies of state that accrue to the best interest and well-being of the country. And unfortunately, these guys are creating policies of state that marginalizes the people in the country. We already had a 68% poverty rate, and instead of them working with the country and its assets and everything else, they're working with foreign investors to ingratiate themselves with these foreign investors so they can have a little trickle of income after they leave their political offices. So they are selling out the country lock, stock, and barrel to the people who have resources and can bring those resources into the country and finance their company, pay no taxes into our system, extract the wealth from the country, and leave a little change in the pocket of a few politicians. And that's the crime that we have currently in our country. I yield back. And that's
Thank you, Leonard. Greg, we have 4 minutes. Take two, and then I'll take two.
Thank you, Mr. Wade. I want to say this to people at home and abroad. We must look at how this country is being run. My good cousin said something just now that is very important. This country is being thrust down the throat of the Belizean people. Look at the soaring electrical bill that is coming up today. That is not funny. And they claim that it's because of the warm weather, but something is definitely wrong. And when you have a CEO or individual working there that will tell you outright you either take it or let it, something is totally wrong. I go
monopolies.
back to you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you,
Monopolies.
Greg, and not to mention, the butane gas has gone up. I think is in fact today, again, right? And that has nothing to do with the war, right? They bring it right across from the border right here, not from Iran and Iraq and them. No, right here. So it's right. So that's something to sleep on to people. I close by saying, Mr. Government, please take a long look, stop for a minute and see how you are putting our security forces in the streets, because it's creating mayhem, right? You're not doing it the right way, and you cannot fault the little BDF and no, they go on instructions. We fault the leaders, right? Those are the ones that, well, I'll say those are the ones that I fault. My people, we see again a repetition cycle. The nation is in election mode. The same thing they did for the last election, 2 weeks or 2 or 3 months before, or 5 months. You see how the activity begins, and it's a repetition cycle. There's activity across the nation of Belize right now because it's leading up to an election. And again, take into consideration the next election will also be an illegal election, right? In the real sense, right? But only the people can save the people. I call on the gangs to stop the killing, because all the police presence and the police activities are pointing towards the gang. They are the one that is causing them to be doing what they are doing to the nation, to the people. Think about it, what you are putting the regular citizen through. and I say this, and I close by saying that they're talking about the centralized area that they have the SOE. You have bigger problems up north, Mr. Brisenio. Bigger problems in Orange Walk and bigger problem in Corozal, right? Bigger than what you are doing
Where's the BDF?
in Belize rural, okay? Belize city and Belize rural, all right? And it's a bigger mess that you have up north. So, you know, be very mindful of that. And on that note, you know, I want to thank you, Greg. I want to thank you, Leonard. I want to thank you, Mr. Morrison, for, you know, such a nice conversation. And again, we here on this program, you know, each and every one of us see it through a different lens. Each and every one of us, you know, we do not speak for each other, right? We speak as how we see it, right? So, you know, that's the healthiness I like about our program, right? We don't like follow. No, we speak our mind and how we see it, right? So again, thank you, Greg, and
Nice program.
Mr. Morrison. Thank you, Leonard.
Greg. Nice program.
Thank you.
Morrison.
Thank
You
you very
guys,
much.
with that said, I want to say good night.
Another one for the